beyond just disconcerting. It's scary. It's like, what's going to happen?
Flying over and through the Rocky Mountains, the scenery is breathtaking. It's a winter landscape that's changing quickly. Underneath all of this snow, a number of glaciers along the Alberta-B.C. border are disappearing. The Hague Glacier near Mount Douglas on the Continental Divide is one of them. It's a water source for hundreds of thousands of people and affects everything from fish habitats to alpine sports.
If we're melting a meter per year, the 80 meters, that's kind of this century will be its last century as a big, healthy glacier that you can ski on.
Sean Marshall is with the University of Calgary's Department of Geography. He's been studying glaciers, including the Hague, for 2 decades. He noticed something last summer. The boundary between the two provinces has moved as the ice shrinks.
As this melts and collapses the height of land, the high point is also shifting.
The boundary was set more than 100 years ago. Surveyors followed the divide, the peaks and crests of the Rocky Mountains that separate watersheds along the mountaintops, sending glacier melt, snow, and rainfall either to the east, to the Atlantic Ocean, or to the west, to the Pacific.
Continental Divide here is just the high point of the glacier.
The flow from the melt has changed course. Marshall says water that used to flow into BC is now draining into Alberta.
So they're melting preferentially more than the eastern slopes, and that's causing some of the migration of the Continental Divide. And right now, at least, Alberta is eating into BC a little bit, so we're slowly claiming some of the BC real estate and some of the BC water up in the high elevations in the mountains.
As the Hague Glacier shrinks, collapses, and shifts, it's raising an important question. Does the Alberta-B.C. boundary need to be redrawn?
The Alberta-B.C. Boundary Commission is aware of the issue. It says the boundary in the area of the Hague was never surveyed, but follows the sinuous natural line of the watershed. The Commission says it doesn't believe a legal survey to define the boundary more precisely is warranted at this time. Canada's top surveyor says a proper legal survey may have to wait until the glacier shrinks even more or disappears altogether. Glaciers supply water to hundreds of thousands of people every year. Depending on temperatures, snow, and rainfall, the amount can fluctuate. During warm, dry years, glacier water could supply up to 20% of Calgary's water supply.
And as they get thinner and thinner, they disappear faster and faster.
For Will Gadd, a professional ice climber and paraglider, his worry is about the loss of glaciers not just here, but around the world.
Niagara Falls, yeah!
He grew up in the Canadian Rockies, but travels extensively for his work.
It's like an ice cube in your drink. You know, it's just, every time I fly around here as somebody who knows the area, I'm blown away by how quickly things are changing.
The Hague is also a summer training ground for Canada's top cross-country skiers. Kevin Sandow, on the right, came up here every summer for 15 years as an athlete and then as an employee. He says the season is supposed to end the first week of September, but some years they couldn't make it past mid to late August.
Every year you get 2 weeks of just crazy hot weather up there, and it's amazing how quickly the snow melts, but then the ice underneath it disappears really. So on a hot day, the waterfall at the toe of the glacier is just roaring.
The Hague Glacier is very interesting because
Luca Robetti has seen the changes too. He's been flying over the mountains here for 20 years.
in the last 2 years, doing some summer patrol, we had some wind where at one point we were not able to fly anymore. And that never happened 10, 15 years ago. I mean, so that's stronger winds, that means, of course, higher temperatures, that means more energy, stronger storms.
I have a lot of colleagues that are a little pretty feeling demoralized, and it affects you emotionally.
Glaciers across Western Canada are disappearing. The picturesque landscape could fade from snow-capped peaks to gray and brown mountaintops. Marshall's prediction for the Hague is grim, but predicts the melt could be slowed if CO2 emissions are reduced.
This maybe is the last time for many centuries that we'll have glaciers in the Rockies. To be able to really document and witness that is maybe an honor in a way, to really understand what's happening and be able to see this before it's gone.
Brian Labby, CBC News, Calgary.